In May 2025, the United States is witnessing a wave of major developments that could significantly alter the landscape for millions of citizens who depend on Social Security, SSI, SSDI, Medicare, and federal disaster assistance programs, creating a mix of hope, uncertainty, and concern. The Social Security Administration, SSA, has officially announced a 2.5% cost of living adjustment, COLA, for 2025, raising monthly benefits to an average of $967 for individual beneficiaries and $1,450 for eligible couples, a modest increase aimed at offsetting inflationary pressures that have persisted despite broader economic stabilization efforts. Yet, this increase is met with growing skepticism and anxiety among older adults, as a recent AppNork poll found that nearly 30% of Americans aged 60 and older fear the future sustainability of Social Security, a notable jump from just 20% in 2023. Many attribute this rising doubt to structural changes implemented under the Trump administration, including sweeping administrative cuts, reduced field office hours, digitization rollouts that have confused many seniors, and controversial public comments by Elon Musk, who now serves as head of the Department of Government Efficiency. Musk's branding of Social Security as a Ponzi scheme during a recent Senate hearing has drawn sharp backlash from both advocacy groups and bipartisan lawmakers, with critics warning such rhetoric undermines confidence in a program serving over 70 million Americans. Meanwhile, President Trump has proposed a sweeping new tax reform package that increases the top marginal income tax rate from 37% to 39.6% for individuals earning above $2.5 million annually, a move framed as fiscally responsible to fund tax cuts for lower and middle income brackets and preserve vital entitlements like Medicaid and veterans benefits. But critics argue the plan does not go far enough in addressing long-term Social Security solvency. As debate rages in Congress, another major shift is taking place in disaster response policy. The Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, has come under fire after President Trump removed acting FEMA head Cameron Hamilton, replacing him with David Richardson, a former Marine Corps logistics officer with little direct experience in disaster relief. This unexpected leadership shakeup, occurring just weeks before the official start of the Atlantic hurricane season, has alarmed state and local officials, especially in storm-prone regions like Florida, Texas, and Louisiana. Richardson wasted no time in asserting his authority, reportedly warning internal staff that resistance to operational reform will not be tolerated, and pledging a new, centralized disaster response strategy that aligns closely with White House directives. Under this new direction, FEMA has announced it will phase out its traditional door-to-door canvassing methods and instead concentrate relief efforts through centralized distribution hubs, online registration systems, and partnerships with state governments, raising concerns among elder and rural populations about access to critical assistance during emergencies. In areas still recovering from past hurricanes and wildfires, local leaders warn this change could leave thousands without timely help. Moreover, FEMA's budget for 2025 has been reduced by 5%, forcing cuts to community preparedness programs and delaying infrastructure projects aimed at climate resilience. This restructuring comes at a time when climate-related disasters are becoming more frequent and severe, with NOAA forecasting an above-average hurricane season this year, including up to 21 named storms. At the same time, Medicare enrollees are bracing for policy changes of their own. A new rule allows Medicare Advantage plans more flexibility in managing drug formularies, but it also raises questions about out-of-pocket costs for seniors who rely on brand-name medications. Additionally, the Trump administration's renewed call to privatize parts of Medicare under the Medicare Choice 2025 initiative has reignited debate over access versus efficiency. Meanwhile, many Americans are still awaiting word on another round of stimulus or inflation relief. While the White House has signaled it may explore targeted payments for low-income households facing rising housing and utility costs, no legislation has been introduced, and partisan gridlock in Congress threatens to stall progress. The Department of the Treasury has also announced new rules requiring more income verification for child tax credit recipients and tightening oversight of Earned Income Tax Credit (EITC) claims to prevent fraud, changes that could delay refunds for millions. These shifts are not occurring in isolation. They reflect a broader transformation of the American social contract at a time of political polarization, demographic shifts, and economic uncertainty. Retirees, disabled citizens, low-income workers, and families must now navigate a complex and evolving landscape where each policy decision could directly impact their health, housing, food security, or ability to recover from disasters. At the state level, governors and legislators are also adapting, with some states like California and New York expanding supplemental SSI programs and others reducing aid or imposing new work requirements. With a critical election year just around the corner, the stakes are incredibly high. The future of Social Security, the resilience of FEMA, the structure of Medicare, and the strength of America's safety net are all on the table, and the decisions made in Washington over the next few months could echo for decades. In the midst of these rapid developments, it is more important than ever for citizens to stay informed, check their eligibility for new benefits or changes, and understand how these shifts could shape their financial well-being and security. Whether you are a retiree trying to understand your COLA increase, a caregiver helping someone navigate Medicare enrollment, or a disaster survivor wondering what FEMA changes mean for your community, this video will walk you through every detail you need to know. Stay tuned as we break down each major update, provide expert analysis, and offer actionable advice to help you prepare, protect, and prosper through these challenging but transformative times.